Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in beautiful Los Osos, Morro Bay, San Luis Obispo area here. If you could see the outside, you'd see the Seven Sisters Mountains here in San Luis Obispo. And we're at the shop of Gary Stoner, which is called Stoner's Automotive. And we're here to find out a little about this new business that's just sort of shook up the area. And the reason it shook it up is they've got two master technicians here who have earned the highest accolades that you can get as a Mercedes technician. And they've opened a brand new garage that's really going to rock the area back on their heels, because they're coming in at $69 an hour for labor and providing world-class service at way less than usual market prices. So this is Gary Stoner. Gary, how long you been in this area?
Well, this is the only place in my life I ever moved back to. I worked at Rizzoli's Automotive in the mid-'80s, worked my way up the West Coast to Seattle, working at Mercedes-Benz dealers, and this is the only place in my life I've moved back to. I moved back in '98.
Well, everybody seems to want to come here. One of the things I've noticed, I've personally been in this area since before the 50s, and the continuing upswing in prices to have somebody work on your automobile. How can you afford to provide the service that you do at such a reasonable price?
Well, we built this shop. Actually, I think the shop cost about $25,000. But because it's here on my wife's family ranch, we have very little overhead. And we don't need to charge people $120 or $130 or $140 an hour. And we didn't do this because we want to make a lot of money. We did this for something to do. My partner and I are both semi-retired. We did it to have a little fun and to help some people.
Well, I would think that there's a tremendous market for what you're offering. I noticed you've got some awards sitting over here on your toolbox. Tell me, how did you get into the automotive service business?
Well, I grew up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I went to Denver Automotive and Diesel College right out of high school. And my plan was I was going to make my fortune working on heavy equipment on the pipeline. When I got back to Fairbanks, they had the pipeline all tied up with native land claims and environmental protection and this, that, and the other thing. The only place in town to get me a job was the Mercedes-Benz dealer because of my diesel training. Diesels were very popular. In fact, a lot of people in Fairbanks would leave their diesels run all night because it was less wear and tear than starting them up the next morning at 60 below.
That makes me shiver just to think about it.
So, I dodged a bullet. Otherwise, I'd have been, changing pony motors on Caterpillars at 60 below. And I went from Fairbanks to Honolulu, Hawaii as a Mercedes-Benz technician. And then, like I said, I started working my way up the West Coast and finally settled here. My last couple of years were in the Bay Area. I ran the night shift at a big city Mercedes-Benz dealer, and then I basically retired about 5 years ago. And then about 3 years ago, I started working on, like Dick's car and friends' cars. And then about 4 months ago, we built this shop. So I'm having a ball.
Well, I think you're going to find people are going to appreciate what you're offering here to a high degree.
Well, we haven't lost a customer yet.
Oh, yeah. I know what I was going to ask you about. How about your mission statement here?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm a mechanic. I'm not a businessman. So I read 25% of home-based businesses for dummies. And what I learned was you need a mission statement. So I created a mission statement for Stoner's Auto. And our mission is world-class service at affordable prices. Our philosophy is pay it forward. And our promise is that we will never install a part or perform a repair that isn't really needed. And I'm pretty proud of that.
Well, that's a great motto to run any business with. Are you experiencing a considerable amount of interest to date?
Well, we had our grand opening on the 4th of July, which in hindsight was not a real good day for a grand opening. I had a lot more people that didn't come than did, but we had 7 Mercedes here. We've fixed 6 of them, and we've had 2 referrals, maybe 3 from those 6 people. So yeah, we're rocking. Come on by.
Oh, well, can you give us a little information how we could reach you on your website?
Sure, it's www.stonersauto.com. And Connie, who's behind the camera, is my chief marketing officer.
Oh yeah, and the phone number.
The phone number is 805-235-4184.
Well, thank you, Gary. I think we've given people a lot of food for thought, and we'll just strongly encourage them to give you a call if they have a Mercedes or a friend has a Mercedes that needs a little attention.
Absolutely, and we can, just so you know, we can fix most things on most cars. We are Mercedes experts, but to a degree, cars is cars. And right now, at my CMO's suggestion, for a limited time, we're offering a 10% discount to all first-time customers.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for spending this time with us, and we'll see you at the shop.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have a little extra that we can use for editing.